You're watching KATU News on Digital.
Good morning. Welcome to DigiCast. Today is June 18th. I'm Sarah Bagby, and I'm joined by Joe English. Thanks for being here today.
Oh, you're very welcome. Good morning.
It's no secret that you're one of my favorite guests. You make it so much easier for me.
Easy
Thank
to
you.
work with, by the way.
I hired him, you know. So the first thing we're going to talk about, of course, is the big news. This is the biggest strike in Oregon with nurses that we've ever had, correct?
I did not realize that. Yeah, 3,000 nurses from the Oregon Nurses Association, Providence hospitals, and I did not know that this was the biggest strike ever in the history of the state.
Yeah, it's interesting because you say it's Providence, but then it's not all the Providence hospitals, right? It's just six of them or such?
6 hospitals where nurses will be on strike because a couple of the other hospitals, Providence Portland and Providence Seaside, they've already made contracts. They worked on that the last year or so, so they're done with that. That was something interesting I found out, was that not all the hospitals follow the same rules and are included in just one bunch of contracts. So there are some different things for Providence Newburgh, for example. They have not had a pay raise since the pandemic, and so they're kind of behind. They have an old contract, and even Providence tells us that they have been several years behind everybody else with their contracts. So their pay is a little bit lower than everybody else. And nurses from Newburgh say that makes a difference in being able to hire experienced nurses. And so the level of care is not as good.
And I think that was the big thing we were going to talk about today, and I'm going to bring up some visual here. But one of the things we want to find out this morning is how it would affect the patients trying to get care today when we are in the strike. And did you find out? I know you were there early this morning in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think one very important thing to note is that both the Nurses Association and Providence say there are staff available to take care of people. So don't cancel appointments. Don't worry about not being able to get in. There are doctors and nurses on staff. They have hired replacements for the nurses, and Providence says they're vetted, they're experienced, they can do the job. They will be there for you over the next 3 days. The strike lasts 3 days, and so they want everybody to know not take care of themselves.
Right.
Because they think that, well, we won't be able to get in the hospital because the nurses are on strike. You can cross the picket line, you can go to the hospital, you have an appointment, you need to do that.
Yeah, and I'm so glad to hear that because there was that concern that maybe this was getting blocked. So now we know you can get care. I want to go back to what you said about the 3 days, though. What's interesting to me is usually a strike is until you get your needs met.
Right.
Can you tell me why there's a 3-day limit on this?
And I asked the nurses on the picket line this morning out at Providence, Milwaukee about that because that seems strange to me, too, to set a 3-day time limit on your strike. Right. And they said it's just because we want Providence to know what our concerns are. We want everybody to know what our concerns are, but we don't want to be on the picket line forever. You know, an endless strike without a time limit on it, that really puts a financial crunch on people who may not have enough money as it is and then have to go for days, even weeks, without getting a paycheck.
Yeah, I guess they can't afford to be on strike for longer, so they're using it to make a point. And for those who may be patients or who maybe want to join, you had mentioned there's 6 actual hospitals. Do you by chance know them off the top of your head so we can let people know?
I can remember a few of them, but I'm going to look at my list just to make sure. So there's Providence Milwaukee Hospital, Providence St. Vincent in Portland, Providence Willamette Falls Medical Center. But this is border to border. This is across the state, so it's what is interesting. It's Providence Newburgh Hospital, Providence Hood River Memorial, and Providence Medford Medical Center. So it's from north to south. There's a lot of people involved in this.
Wow. It'll be interesting to see what happens in 3 days, and we'll be following this, of course. You'll be tracking this for us?
Oh, yeah. We all are at KATU, yeah.
Okay, great. And in other news, if you were noticing out in the morning commute, it was a little bit different this morning. We had a lot of congestion due to I-5 being closed. Not only was it closed this morning, it is still closed. When you were coming in from Milwaukee, you didn't have to drive on I-5, did you?
No, we had no problem, but a lot of other people did this morning
pretty,
for sure.
pretty bad. So yeah, I'm going to actually show you some pictures because it is huge. This is what happened. We had a trailer. It was holding, whoops, that's the wrong one. That's strike. So we had a trailer holding propane canisters. It was a minor crash, but then all these little propane canisters, we're talking a lot of them, all just spilled across the freeway. This was shortly before 5 a.m. And then when the firefighters went to go put out one that was smoking, a bunch of them ignited. So we had this huge, huge fire. You can imagine they had to make sure everyone was safe. We had all these drivers lined up. They closed I-5 south and northbound for about an hour. So this is in the middle of rush hour, getting in on the
That
commute.
kept you busy this morning,
Oh
being our
man, I
traffic
got my
reporter in the
steps
morning.
in today. Yes,
Yeah.
I did. So, but the thing that's interesting is we're still tracking this, right? We do have most of it cleaned up, but the canisters created so much damage on I-5 North that we're still congested in a lot of parts of Portland. So if you're out and about today even, just check your GPS, make sure that there's a route in place for you, because all of the other major roadways are also very congested.
Yeah, I was just talking with Mike Warner, who's our live drive guy in the morning, and he said that part of the situation that makes this whole story even crazier is that the cab driver took off. They don't know where that driver is, left all those canisters there. They don't know who the driver is, don't know where the driver is, looking for the driver to, hold somebody accountable for this. Yeah,
he's probably afraid of getting in trouble. 'Cause
I
there's
would imagine.
a lot of cost that goes into the repairs. When you do go down I-5, or I guess I should say up because it's I-5 northbound, you will see it. I'm sure they're doing their best right now, but check it out. It's right over by North Portland, between Rosa Parks and 405. So Skidmore is sort of the overpass over it. That's the area.
Yeah,
So,
still closed at this
still
point?
closed right now at 11 o'clock, 11 something here. So we do expect I-5 northbound to be closed all day today, Joe. So just
Okay.
a fair warning. We'll keep you updated on that. Of course, 4, 5, and 6 o'clock shows will be letting you know what's going on with that. And finally, I have some good news for kids and parents in Battleground. This is starting on Monday. You live in Vancouver, right?
Yep, Clark
Okay.
County guy, yep.
Yeah, so kind of not Battleground, but on the way there. There's going to be free meals for kids and anyone under 18. This is available at 3 Battleground locations. What's cool about this, too, is this program runs all summer long when the kids are not in school, and the idea is to give access to nutritious meals. It's sponsored by the districts, but the funds mostly come from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, a grant that they applied for.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah, I think that maybe a few other school districts should apply for a grant like this. And the coolest part about this is you do not have to be a Battleground student to go pick up some food. Yeah, in fact, I was noticing I actually have for us right here a list of where you can go pick up food. And you'll notice River Homelink is a Battleground school, Daybreak Primary Battleground school, so you can go to either of those. Glenwood Heights Primary, though, that's over in Salmon Creek, Vancouver. So they're making this accessible to pretty much all of, Clark County, too, when you think about it,
And
because
breakfast
anyone can
and
go.
lunch.
Exactly, breakfast and lunch. I will warn you, breakfast is not offered at Glenwood, so the one in Salmon Creek, no breakfast there. And then River does not offer breakfast on Fridays. So
Okay.
it's just something to know, but otherwise,
check in with them.
Yeah, pretty cool that they're offering that, though. Otherwise, I think that is pretty much all we have news-wise. I do think we should cover the weather, though, because do you know what this week
It's
is?
going to get toasty.
It's going to get toasty, and it's
And?
the first day of summer,
Yep.
so we have to celebrate that. I had to show you this. We have the first day of summer here on Thursday, but also, just to let you know, a lot of stuff is going on with the moon this week. We've got Strawberry Moon on Saturday, which just means the moon is going to be really giant and not very bright, but a kind of an orangey. You'd think that it'd be rosy colored because of strawberry, but that just means that it's time to harvest berries.
Right, and hood strawberries in particular.
Good point.
Those are the best. If you have never had those, get those. They're not like the strawberries you get at the grocery store for the most part.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. Joe is so right. He knows his stuff. Also, you'll notice these temperatures, of course. These are some warm
yeah.
temperatures. We're warming it up. So yesterday was a little bit chilly, and then we brought in the sun. Now we're just going to keep that sunshine around all week long. So
And 90 is the point where we start getting phone calls and emails in the weather department saying, can you crank it down a bit? It's getting a
They
little
blame us,
toasty for us.
right? And then if it rains, they're like, can you please turn on the sun?
Right.
There's
Yeah,
no winning.
absolutely.
But I think I'm going to enjoy this. Plus, I want to also mention with the moon, tonight is its brightest. 3 days before the strawberry moon. What you do see tonight will be the brightest that you see the moon all year long.
Wow.
So just a little interesting fact for you.
Very good.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us for today's DigiCast. I'm going to leave you with this picture of Hood River. That's where traffic is running
Beautiful out there.
smoothly right now.
Yeah.
And it is beautiful. But everyone have a great day. Make sure you join us for our 4, 5, or 6 p.m. tonight, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Have a great day.
This has been a K2 News Digicast. K2 News is on your side.